Hi, Carrie.
Hi, Carrie.
Hello. I am sorry, I am at a conference and I'm trying to get all my things set up.
Uh,
So nice to see folks.
Yeah,
Same here.
that's nothing.
Hi, Sophie.
Hi, Sophie.
Hello,
Hi, everyone.
Liv.
Hi, I'm trying to. It says my video is disabled by the host.
Oh,
Oh, okay. Perfect. Hi, everybody.
Hi.
you.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, that was just Sal calling me, and he asked us so he is there as Heather. I guess he's using his wife's computer. So
Okay.
glad he used phone a friend. He's like, can you just tell him it's me? Because he was appropriately disabled because we didn't know who he was. So
No, there he
I'm
there
like,
he
is.
please let
is.
me in.
That's funny.
I'm glad phone a friend worked.
Yeah,
That's
thank you.
awesome.
Thank you, Carrie.
Of course.
Okay. So Kevin is going to be about 40 minutes late, and I'm not sure about Addie. I didn't hear anything that he wouldn't be attending, but maybe we can get started 7:03. So why don't we do that, and I'll call the meeting to order, and we can just do roll call, state your full name. Sal,
Sal Bermonti. Yeah.
Carrie,
Carrie Janelle here.
Sophie,
Sophie Hansen here.
Joan,
Joan Wetzel here.
and Rick Lopez. Um, so for tonight's agenda, we have a number of things here. We're going to review the minutes from last meeting. We'll do public comment if there is any. We have some hauler regulations, which will be the first time I think we're seeing these. So we'll have a conversation about them. The dumpster regulations, which we've already seen once or twice. Um, Hopefully, we're close to finalizing or will finalize and vote on them. Um, we saw the updated fee schedule a couple meetings ago. Um, and so we'll take a look at it again and decide on whether to vote or not. But that's the plan. Um, there's the turn back tracks meeting that's happening next week, and just that whole issue. And maybe a day can update us on that, and then we'll do the usual monthly report. Kind of go from there. Um, that being said, in terms of the minutes from August 14th, are there any comments, edits, changes? Okay. I had just two.
Okay.
Um, just one is in terms of members present, I think we ought to parenthetically state Kerry was present at 7:25,
Yeah.
just for the minutes, just for accuracy's sake,
Yes.
in case we want to look back and see why didn't she vote on something or something like that.
Yep.
And then also others present. We have Amelia listed, and I don't think she was present at that meeting. So those two edits, otherwise they look fine to me as well. So I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from August 14th. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconds from Sal. Okay. Roll call. Sal,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
and Rick, yes. So the minutes are approved. I don't see any members of the public on the screen, so I think we will move on to the HOLA regulations, and I'll turn it over to Aday.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Lopez. So during the review process for the dumpster regulation, we realized that we did not have a HOLA regulation for the town of Reading. And we got to this point that we wanted to merge the HOLA regulation with the dumpster regulation. And at some point, the board decided not to do that. So we had to come up with a separate HOLA regulation. And this is what we have. It's here for review purposes. Whatever feedback I get tonight, I will take that back to the town council, and we'll go from there. I also believe that DPW has a role in this regulation because they are in charge of, recyclable goods and things like that. So I plan on meeting with DPW leadership to go over the regulation and get their input as well.
Carrie.
Just ask one question, just a day. So this came from town council. Do we know if it is pulled from, if it is similar to or based on regulations used in other communities? Did they look at representative similars or?
Yes, they did.
Okay.
I have a few questions as well, like 4.2.2. Haley, would you be able to pull that up or? Okay.
Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so 4.2,
4.1.
4.2.2. Okay, towards the end of it, it says information on how the hauler will ensure that customers prevent solid waste from being disposed with recyclables, and how the hauler will notify customers of improper disposal. If a waiver is requested, the request shall be specified on the application as well. I'm a little bit lost. So that's something I'm going to have to clarify with town council. And also 4.3.1F. Haley, can you please scroll to 4.3.1F? Okay, it says it is the responsibility of the hauler to educate customers about the waste ban and inform them that they will refuse to collect solid waste mixed with waste ban items that are visible to the driver from any of their customers. I find that to be a little bit awkward as well. How do they educate the customers? And then if we go to 4.3.1G, it says if the hauler refuses to collect any materials from a customer, the hauler shall inform such customers in writing of
Yeah.
the reasons for refusal to collect solid waste. Additionally, by the 15th of the month, the hauler shall advise the board of health or its agent of the customers who have received refusal notices in the prior month, and then the board or its agent shall, when possible, assist the hauler with enforcement of the town's mandatory recycling program or waste burn requirements. So I'm not sure how we're going to coordinate that. It seems like a little bit, it seems like it's going to be complicated to do that. And just one last one is 4.3.2. It says residential customers may not contract with a hauler for collection of solid waste or recyclables only unless otherwise pre-approved by the board. So what circumstances would warrant that? I would like to know. So those are some of the things I will be communicating to town council to shed some light on them.
Okay.
And then whatever feedback I get from the board as
I have
well.
a couple items as well, but I'll let Carrie go ahead.
Sorry, yeah, so I just, I think that some of these things, your conversation with DPW will help because they, I assume, are the contracting body for the, they're the department that has the contract. With I forget who it is now, I've lost track, is it still Republic?
Republic.
And
Right.
some of these things are required, right? I mean, they're already doing these things. They have to put a sticker on and tell you that something is refused and why. They are required to not accept certain things. There's a list of what's not acceptable. It's sent out by DPW, I think, a couple times a year. So I think it would be a matter of just checking to see, are these provisions, do they match what the existing contract is? And, what does DPW think about the way it works? I would guess town council might have some insight on that too. And then I think, I'm interested too, a day in the one about the providing a list of the names of and addresses of places where things have been refused. I think that's a high bar. I mean, I know that they have to refuse. So I'd be interested to know how this meshes with our contract and just making sure that that we are reflecting what the provisions are. I think our contract is old though, and I know we're preparing to move to a new hauler. So we may be setting conditions for what a future contract will be. Are you concerned about the role of staff in about the expectation in here that there's a role for staff in the enforcement piece? Is that one of your
Not
questions about
necessarily, not
G?
necessarily.
Okay.
It's more of the coordination. How do we coordinate that?
Yep. Yep.
And
And
I
I
guess,
think, yeah,
go ahead.
no. And I think, I mean, I like the provision that I think the provision that we have that you can't just that individuals that we have a list, right? That haulers have come and said, yeah, we want to be able to haul trash in this community. And I like that. It is a change, but I think that if somebody's going to enter into a regular contract on it, that we ought to know and make sure that they're following the town regs, and that's an opportunity to do that. So it'd be kind of like, I guess it's not a license, but it's a similar thing. We have some oversight there to contribute. So, more work, but I think valuable, though, my opinion. I agree. I had pulled those sections as well as just kind of, let's make sure that we're all agreeing on the same thing. I don't know. Sorry, I jumped ahead of you there, Rick, but I'm
That's
curious
okay.
what your comments are.
No, I had for 4.3.1 E and F, I had the same sort of question because it seemed like to have Republic, if they end up being our future hauler, having to educate the community, that seems like a high bar to pass.
It's a
And
requirement, though. It
it
is a
is,
requirement, yeah. But yeah, I think knowing how we do it, I think is right. Making sure it's in the
yeah. I
contract
mean,
and what's the standard for meeting that.
right, right. I mean, as you say, DPW sends these out. They have, a great website to find out how to, get rid of anything and exactly how you do it. I mean, it seems like, so I would agree with both of you that those two areas ought to be discussed with DPW in terms of the best way to do it. I think in a couple other comments, one is in 4.3.2, when a residential customer, um, has a different, for whatever reason, sounds like has a different hauler, decides to privately pay for a separate hauler. I think that's what it means. Um, it's the second sentence says residential customer may not contract with a hauler for collection of a solid waste or recyclables unless otherwise pre-approved by the board. And I'm just wondering whether we really need to get approval other than to ensure that the hauler that the resident is going to contract separately, it has a permit in the town. I mean, that would be important, but otherwise, I'm not sure, because if the hauler has a permit, they're going to be following all these regulations as well. So if the individual resident wants to do it, I don't see a big deal about having to come to the board or the health department. I could be missing something, but the only other question I would raise, or thing I would kind of like to insert somewhere, is I mean, this is one of my low pet peeves, but maybe it's not appropriate for this, but when uh, not infrequently, when haulers are picking up trash, they they can be maybe one out of every 30 times. I don't know. They tend to leave the barrels right out on the street. And sometimes it's a third of the way across my street. Sometimes it's almost in the middle of the street. And on collection day in your neighborhood, it's sort of like you're driving one of those obstacle courses trying to get around the barrels. And
Yeah.
if it's a very windy day, and the barrels are left sort of on their side and halfway out in the street, they can really kind of blow down the street. I actually last year had an episode where that happened, and my barrel was literally 3 houses down in the street on a very windy winter day. So I would suggest putting in a, a regulation that says that they're required to return the recycling or the waste receptacle to the side of the street or the sidewalk, as opposed to what they do now, which is most of the time they do that, and then there's enough times where it becomes a hazard in terms of driving. Those were my only I think additional comments.
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want to piggyback on Rich for a second with the additional requirement for us to approve a vendor. I think that would be taxing on like people doing construction, and I think it should just be the permit. I was reading that same paragraph as you, Rich. I don't see why they would have to come to the board for a special permit or a special okay. And the same thing with my barrels. I live on Havel Street, and they throw them out in the middle of Havel Street. They don't last long out there. Yeah.
Yeah, Carrie?
Yeah, I think I'll just, as I read the requirement for board approval, I do not see they have to come to us. I think that there needs to be an application and that would be something that would be sent to would be sent to the department. And I think a day and staff could just put it on the agenda item and say, there's a new applicant, and, DPW is working with them. They comply with 310 CMR, and just, I agree that I don't think requiring somebody to come in is necessary, but I think it's the making sure that the board has notice, that we are seeing the thing. If we're taking on a responsibility for this, then we need to just affirm, okay, so it's part of the report now. Day says there are two new companies that have put in applications and are going to be hauling trash for private customers. So I don't have an issue with that, with the application piece. I would agree that it seems excessive to ask folks to come to the board and ask for our approval. I hope that's not what we're getting ourselves into.
Yeah. It'd be a month. It'd be a month before they got the permit if they, if they put it in
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Yeah, no,
They'd have to wait a month.
yeah, no, I mean, it's not right. I agree. We're not trying to get in the way of folks doing business. We just need to make sure, it's yes, they have a day's reviewed it, or whomever he assigns it to, they've reviewed the application, and, all the i's are dotted and all the t's are crossed.
Yep.
Is how I see it.
Same.
I don't know if that's agreeable to you, Aday, but that's my.
It is, but what I'm trying to figure out is what circumstances would warrant you to get your own private trash hauler if you're already paying taxes and the town is already doing it for you.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it may be a provision that doesn't, I mean, it may be one of those things it's a just in case. We don't know. There are some people, kind of just like some people choose to send kids to private school, even though they're paying their taxes for the education system. There may be some, I don't know how often it occurs, but I think it would be that same kind of thought.
The only thing I
I
can
would think
think of is if there is like a hoarding case and you're cleaning out the house, but
Yeah.
that's just a one-off. It's an
Right.
occasional thing. It's not like a regular thing. So
That's what I would think, like construction or something, you have a big pile of trash. But I don't think we need to meet the board for something like that. I feel like that would fall under, if you're doing construction on your house, that should just be a permit.
I wondered if it was referring to condo people that live in condos because they don't get the town trash.
Oh,
I don't know why they would want to contract with someone personally, but that was my only thought.
yeah, possibly.
Regardless of the motive, I think our reason to want to know is just to ensure that the hauler is permitted within the town of Reading, so that they're following all the rules, even though they only have a few customers or whatever. It's really around knowing that they haven't contracted with a private independent hauler who we know nothing about and who's not permitted. That would be a problem. So I think that's the main, shouldn't be more complicated than knowing that. Any other suggestions to this proposed regulation that that, we'll go back and Ade will work on it with town council and come back to us at a future meeting. Okay, sounds like no. So do you have what you need today?
Yes, I do.
Great. Okay, dumpster regulations.
Okay, so this proposed regulation has been reviewed by the board during previous meetings. It's been to the board at least twice, I believe. It has also been reviewed by the town council, and at the last meeting that this was reviewed, there were two key questions left unanswered. The first was that the town council suggested merging this regulation with the haulers regulation, but the board decided to make it a separate regulation. And the second concern was that construction demolition dumpsters should be exempt from the lead requirement. The board agreed to exempt those, and the board made a motion to review and take a vote on the revised regulation at the next meeting, which is this meeting, with the following conditions. The first one was to amend some typos. Second was to remove the last sentence in 4.2.1. Let's see, Haley, can you please put that up?
Can we see it?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so for the 4.2.1, it had shall maintain or operate. Let's see. So we took that out. We took the last sentence from 4.2.1 out, and this is the revised version. And then the board also instructed me to exempt construction dumpsters from the lead requirement under 4.3.5. So everything has been, all the changes have been made, and this regulation is now ready for a vote.
Okay, any other comments before we take a vote? Can I have a motion to approve the dumpster regulation?
I make a motion to approve the dumpster regulation as written
second.
here.
I'll second.
Second.
Yeah.
Okay, a roll call. Sal,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
and Rick, yes. So that regulation is approved. I've been wanting to say this all day. Enough of trash talk. Now we're going to move on to the fee schedules.
Practicing that.
Yeah.
All right, Haley, can you please put the fee schedule up? Thank you.
Can we see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Great. So the current fees are in red ink, and the proposed changes are in black. I brought this before the board, I believe in January, and the board liked the idea. I sent it to town council for review, and they came up with two comments. The first comment was to clarify that the proposed increase in fees for animals only applies to animals governed by keeping of animals regulation, which is section 02. So if you scroll down, Haley, to the animals. So if you look, yeah, right there. So it doesn't specifically say that these changes apply to section 02. So town council recommended that we add that on the fee schedule. And also they suggested that the board consider holding a hearing prior to the adoption of these fees, since some of the fees are being raised dramatically. So, you know, like ice rink, we're going from $0 to $150 outdoor, and then indoor, we're going from 50 to 100. So town council believes those are like, you know, dramatic increases, and they would recommend the board have a hearing, hold a hearing before adopting these changes.
I think with respect to the animal edit, I think that makes a lot of sense to, specify which animals using the animal regulation as an example. On the hearing, I'm sort of as I read, they said they would recommend, although it's not required. And so I guess the question, I'm a little bit ambivalent. You know, I the we're talking. I'm ambivalent for a couple of reasons. One is that this fee schedule was, for those you don't know, was developed looking at surrounding communities and looking what their highs and lows fees are, and sort of picking something that's reasonable in the middle, given that our fee schedule hadn't been updated for many years. And secondly, I think that the dollar amounts, for businesses and so forth, don't seem to be particularly high. Like it's not something that's going to break someone's budget, I would think. And I would say, thirdly, we're not dealing with a very complicated issue here. This is just updating dollar amounts and that haven't been updated for a long time. So I'm not. I mean, if there was a lot of sense by board members that we should have a hearing, we could certainly do that. I'm not necessarily feeling strongly about it myself. Go ahead, Carrie.
Thanks, Rick. First, a date. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure I understood you properly. The red are the existing fees and the black are the proposed fees.
Correct.
Okay. Okay. And I'm thrilled. I mean, like specific, like I look at rec camps, I'm like, oh my goodness, yes, because boy, rec camps are a lot of work. And I think that, a fee increase, from the $10 is entirely reasonable. As much as we want to be supportive of, community recreation, that's great. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of oversight that needs to happen. And so I mean, I like the changes. Thank you, Rick, for clarifying about the source of these. I know that Mass Health Officers Association has a fee, a tool that you can use to assess whether the costs, assess both the costs of doing the work and then also assess the fees and see how they balance with that. I'm curious if we looked at that. I'm curious so 3 questions. Two questions and a comment. Was the review did we look at our shared services peers? Was this developed with shared services support?
Correct. So we used the communities within the shared services, and then
Yep.
communities that are identical to Reading in terms of population and socioeconomic
Okay.
status.
Okay. And is there a presentation that maybe shows, or a spreadsheet or something that shows that data that, okay, great.
Yes.
So, okay. And then, and then I think my comment, I'll just, I understand the points that you raised, Rick, about whether we ought to have a hearing or not. And I think I'm actually leaning on I think it's fair to to hold a hearing to let folks know that we are changing them. We have data of why they're being changed. The changes are not arbitrary. They've been, we can share that this is, I don't know when the last time the fee schedule was updated. And, I think that it's reasonable to hold a hearing to hear to hear it, basically it's a hearing to invite the public. Do they have any comment on it? I really hope that anyone who was reviewing this fee schedule would understand that these are reasonable changes, and that the board nor the town is not making money. We are not making money on when we issue these fees. We are not even breaking even in some instances, and that I think sharing that is useful. Yeah, I'm sure that there are individuals who would have, why are you raising a fee? Why, and that's okay. I mean, that's part of what people tell me why. And I guess I am leaning on to the side of, why don't we? Because we are making a lot of changes. And we have very good reasons for it. So, I will stop with that. Thank you for all the work pulling this information together. I know I've done it in other areas. It's not easy, so great job.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sal?
Yep. I would also agree with Carrie, at least bring the public in. I always like to include people, not, hit them over the head with the hammer and not tell them. Not like these fees are really hitting them over the head, but, if you go from 0 to 300 or 0 to 200, it is a little, shock that you just had no bill and now you have a bill. I think, we do owe them a little explanations. But yeah, that's, pretty much whatever you guys said, I agree with, plus the meeting, the hearing.
Okay. Joan, any thoughts on this?
No, I can see both points. I mean, especially where the fees are just being brought up in line with, commensurate areas. But some of them are fairly dramatic changes. So
Okay.
I think, either way is good.
If we do have a hearing, sounds like we probably should have a hearing. A day you would want to have a brief presentation that speaks to some of the points brought up, and maybe, a document that shows side-by-side comparisons with whether it's the Mass Health Officers Association or or the fees, the sort of average fees in the shared collaborative or adjacent towns, so that people can see side by side that these are not out of the ordinary. I think that would be useful.
Absolutely.
And to Carrie's point about, it would be harder to document this, but in terms of, work effort, I mean, some of these require a paid inspector to spend time to go out and do their thing and come back, and so there's a certain administrative cost to doing these, and a lot of these don't probably even meet that.
Right.
But in terms of the numbers themselves, I would just say that I'm relying on the fact that these are that you've done comparisons and these are within the norm, because otherwise I have no context to know whether $50 or $200 is right or wrong or indifferent.
Yeah.
Especially since I'm not paying it. Yeah, Carrie.
I'm sorry to come back again. But I just, so in terms of logistics for hearing, couldn't we schedule a hearing during a regular meeting and we put it for we're holding a hearing at 7:30 on our next meeting. We hold it where it's open for, half an hour or whatever we think the reasonable amount of time is. And then we can close it and then we can come back and consider the next day, as opposed to like what we did, for example, with the nicotine free conversation, which was, separate
Right.
timing. Is that what we're thinking about for how we would conduct a hearing? And
I
notice
think
on
that's a
it?
great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, that, because yes, I think that sounds like a good idea, because my gut feeling is we're not going to get
Right.
a lot of input, but I guess we'll see. But having it as part of that's fine. As
Yeah,
part of one of our regular.
I mean, I just, just to like add on to what I said, like the retail food services, the 0 to 90 square feet went up 100 to 200, so that's 50%. But if you go down to 4,000 square feet, it goes from 100 to 750. That's like, 7 times as much. So if I'm somebody who's at 4,000 square feet, I'm, just being a business person, I'm going to say, why are they only at 50% up, whatever, 100%, and I went up, 7 times.
Hmm.
It's they have the right to make the argument in my eyes.
Sure.
It might be right in line. I'm not saying that it's not right in line, but just,
Yeah,
you're on
Carrie.
mute. You're on mute, Carrie. I can't hear
Oh, sorry.
you.
Sorry. Yeah, I mean, and I think, Rick, your point of a day's presentation, I think that, that's a key piece of sort of say, noting, yes, and in these instances, we have, a few, and these establishments, an inspection takes X hours or, on average, or, where I think that being able to provide a little bit of context and speak to it would be worthwhile. And I think that, given the good work they've done to gather this information, I know it'll be some work to prepare, but the information is there. It's just pulling it together. So, yeah, I think that, and then having the opportunity for people to just sort of, if they still have questions after they hear that presentation, then they have a space where they can voice that and we
Right.
hear them. We've done due diligence of making sure we're not surprised. People aren't going to get surprised when they go to fill an application, pull a
Yeah.
permit and they're like, wait, I never had to pay this. So
Right.
they may
Right,
still be
right.
surprised. They may still be surprised, but we will have done our piece of trying to help them not be.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like I said before, if I'm at 900 square feet, it's a quarter of 4,000, right? And that's 200. And I mean, I guess it's in line, right? It would definitely be in line, but you went from all 100 to now 200, 300, 400, and 750.
Hmm.
But that's it. That's all I had.
Okay, so I think we have what we need, which is to make the adjustment on the animal definition and to schedule a hearing during a future meeting as part of one of these meetings. I guess that would require publishing these and doing all the things we need to do for a hearing.
Correct. Well,
Um,
should I do
So-
a doodle poll for the board to pick? Well, we don't have to do that as long as it's during the Board of Health meeting. So,
yeah, it would just be during one of our regular meetings,
okay.
either next month or the month after.
Okay.
Welcome, Kevin. Okay. Ade, do you want to update us on the MBTA Turnback Tracks meeting? and
Yes.
sort of where that whole process is?
Yes, it's going to be a quick update. There was an abutters meeting on September 9th, and after that meeting, the Reading Tombak Committee, the one that Lucas, I believe, is the spokesperson for the committee, um, you know, and they represent the larger group of concerned residents. They requested to meet with the Reading delegation, town officials, and boards, including the Board of Health, to present their concerns. And the town manager has asked me to share the proposal with the board and get your feedback as well. And also there is a community meeting scheduled for September 15th, but it appears that the Tomba committee is advocating for that meeting to be rescheduled.
Okay. What about do you know if at the meeting on the 9th, whether um, the presentation included data from their analysis of sound and toxic emissions? Because those are the two areas that we have potentially a role or not. Do they present any data as part of their presentation around that? Do you know?
So I don't believe they presented like the raw data, and that's what the Reading Tomba committee is after. That's what they want to see. They
Okay.
want to see the raw data and how they came up with their conclusion. But
Okay.
they've promised that they will send the raw data to us, and hopefully I'll share it with the board.
Okay. I don't recall whether the presentation, I think it was from July that you sent me. Have we shared that with the board members?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay. That would be useful because that's all the data we have, but it's only 2 slides, so it's not a whole lot. So would you say the next steps here are um, was the MBTA willing to share the raw data? Um,
So the MBTA sent an
they
email indicating that they're
Yeah.
willing to do that. I
Okay.
believe a third party has the data and they're willing to get
Mm.
the raw data and send it to
Okay.
us. I haven't
Okay.
received anything yet, but we're
Mm.
hopeful that we're going to get something. And the
Okay.
town manager is also, he's involved and he wants to get feedback from the board regarding, meeting with the committee, the Tombak committee.
Okay. That's, I could imagine, yeah, we can, I guess there's some urgency to this in terms of timing, because I know the MBTA wants to go ahead and get started, and I sort of get this sense, but it would be important for us to see the raw data and anything they have either be probably before we met with the turnaround committee, so that we had a chance to look at it and kind of understand it ourselves, and then have the turnback committee come, and if they want to do a presentation, obviously that would be fine.
Absolutely, and that's exactly why they're advocating to reschedule the meeting, from the 15th to
For
a
next
later
week, yeah.
date. Correct.
Okay. Yes, Kevin.
First of all, sorry, I'm late to the show here, folks. I apologize. In regards to the MBTA, I'll have to go through my notes. I have it on excellent authority that this has happened in other places. I think it was most notably more like a train yard rather than a turnback track. And so I'll find out the exact details. But there were several complaints lodged about sound. There was one woman who lived near there in particular would always couldn't say, I can't pinpoint it, but there's a low emittance of noise that I'm continuing to hear going on. So I'm sure the MBTA does not want to give us the raw data because I can already tell you exactly what the raw data is going to tell them. And they've been trying to figure this out for a while, actually. why exactly it is having that low admittance of sound coming off of these train engines, but it certainly is. There are several complaints in regards to it that goes back for a while. So I will do some digging on my behalf on that part, but that's definitely on the table. It's not happening. I'll say that much.
Mhm. Interesting.
And I have it on very good authority. I'll put it that way.
Okay. Show us the data. I guess that's what it comes down to.
Yes.
That would be actually interesting if there were other communities where something similar happened and what their actual real life experience was. That would be interesting to know. I know that in some of the data, the Turnback Committee produced was a paper where they were looking at toxic emissions and sound in neighboring communities from a railroad track, railroad center in Southern California. And this is maybe a 10-year-old study. And it showed how, the sound was high, the toxic emissions. But then when you read further, it was, a real railroad center that had 20 railroad tracks and, trucks loading and unloading trains and trains. It was nowhere near, so people tend to pick and choose their information. I mean, I saw some data from a July presentation of from the MBTA. Um, those sound sensors, they put 3 sensors and they monitored for 20 minutes, what the sound difference was. And it just seemed like an inadequate amount of data. So we'll have to see what they show us before making some judgments. Okay, I guess there's nothing more on that right now.
So can I just ask a question?
Sure.
And we may not have that answer, but our board has a very wide scoping range of authority. So my question would be, at what point can we put our thumb down and say, I'm not really too happy with the data that you came up with. We want to stop it and get our own source. I guess would be we can.
Yeah, no, I think that's a legitimate point. And I think when we get the detail data, that would be an opportunity to review it and have a discussion around it and call them on it if we're not comfortable with the information. It shouldn't take them that long to get it to us, I would think. It's just seems pretty slow.
So they have come into town with their collar high and their noses up. So this doesn't surprise me one bit.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been at meetings too, Kevin, and pretty much they say we're gonna do it no matter what.
Yeah.
Like literally, that's what they said at the meeting.
Yeah.
Like we can't stop them. So.
Is
And
that
they may be
accurate?
right in the end, but
Yeah.
they're still going to have to prove to us what they're saying to be true is true.
Yeah. Yeah, they were literally asked, could they be stopped? And he pretty much said no to us.
Okay.
Yeah, Carrie. Carrie, have your hand up?
Yeah. So I think to your question or comment, Kevin, about our broad authority, I actually was sending a message. I volunteer to check in with the Mass Association of Health Boards on whether they have worked with other communities and have any guidance for us on how we where what specific areas we can move with strength. They provide technical assistance. They work collaboratively with town council, and where we touch in on with them is that they have expertise, deep expertise in Board of Health authority, and have broad perspective of what happens in Massachusetts and what's happening nationally. So I'll check in with Cheryl or whomever at MAHB and see what if I can get some communication that I can share with y'all. Unless Ajay, you're already talking to them and I'm stepping on your toes, and I don't want to do that.
We
But
need all the information we can get. So
okay.
yeah.
All right.
Take care.
So okay.
Okay. There's nothing else on
Sing
that.
us a day. Ooh, I'm sorry, Rick.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Jay, the ask from the town manager is the Board of Health, will the Board of Health attend? Do we want to attend? I mean, we want
We
to
just
post,
wanted
and
to
then
get
we
like
just have to
feedback.
post.
You just wanted
Yeah.
feedback if you
Yeah.
thought it was a good idea, and
Okay. Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I mean, we could
Okay.
certainly post for a meeting if need be.
That's on Monday. So it is.
Well, it sounds like they're going to switch it. Is that what you
We're gonna
said?
change it.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to the monthly report by day.
The monthly report, and Lee would provide nursing updates right after. In the month of August, there was one food complaint. We had 11 food inspections. We had one complaint regarding dumpster maintenance. We had 5 housing complaints, multiple housing violations, 3 complaints regarding keeping of animals. There was a rooster complaint, a sick coyote, and a dead opossum. There was one change of ownership at a nursing facility, Bear Mountain, and there were 5 complaints about pest sightings. 5 pool inspections were conducted, and we had 3 dog bite incidents. Liv?
Hello, everyone. I'm just going to share my screen. Okay. Happy September, everyone. All right, so here is the monthly disease report. So August brought us an uptick of COVID with 31 cases this past month. The Stratus strain is still very active, so please consider testing if you're feeling under the weather. Please note that the state and the federal government are no longer providing free COVID test programs anymore. So we are unable to get free tests, but most insurances will still offer it. If you go through your insurance, you can get them at pharmacies. Lyme disease, we had 7 cases in the town this past month, so remember to always check yourself before going outside. I have 3 monthly blood pressure screenings, and these are the dates for September and October. Our public library and Frank Tanner screenings are next week, next Monday and Thursday, if you can attend. Next we have our September monthly awareness topics. Our first one of the day is Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. This is just bringing light to the fact that 1 in 91 women will be diagnosed, and treatment does depend on type and stage. Also, Prostate Cancer Awareness Month, bringing awareness that 1 in 8 men will be diagnosed with prostate cancer in the year 2025. So get yourselves checked. September is also National Sickle Cell Awareness Month. SED is a lifelong illness that can be managed through preventative screenings and treatment strategies. It's also National Childhood Obesity Awareness Month. This was posted on the Facebook page the other day, and I thought it was just a really nice little image. So get out there and move with your people if you can. And then it's also Fruit and Veggies Month. Here are some local places and farmers markets that we have. The Wakefield Farmers Market on Saturdays, Wilmington on Sundays, Winchester on Saturdays, and then Wilson's Farm in Lexington, which I love so much. We also have our Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. This next Wednesday, we are going to be gathering on the town lawn from 5:30 to 7 p.m. for a memorial for those we have lost. I will be there representing the health department, so if you're able to come, please stop by. This is, we have 2 hands-only CPR classes. I had one this past Monday and I have one in November. It's kind of a moot point at this point because they're all full. So one is passed and the second one is full. So look forward to more in the future. And then we also have our hearing screening coming up this next in 2 Wednesdays, September 24th at the library. We had a wonderful turnout last time, and we recently did it for town hall staff, which was really great. So here's the QR code to sign up, or give me a call if you'd like a slot. We have our flu clinics coming up. I'm going to be doing 7 flu clinics at the library. And here are our dates, and you can register now whenever you want. I'm also going to be 2 days at Pleasant Street Center and 1 day at Frank Tanner. So please contact me if you have any questions with that. We also have 3 vaccine clinics that are going to be at the Coolidge Middle School. We have just gotten word that COVID is going to be there. So I'm there. It wasn't going to be there and now it's going to be there. So you will be able to get the COVID-19 vaccine shot if you so choose. And those dates are September 26th, October 17th, and November 7th. And as always, I still have my Take Back Supplies programs. And that is all. Let me just get on.
Thank you, Leah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Liv. Can I ask about the an update on the rat situation? Because I noticed you had 5 complaints of pests, and I don't know if those were all rats or not, but
Yes, they were rat sightings, and that's
they
what we
were rat
have
sightings.
on our website as well.
Yeah.
And what we've been doing is we've been moving those boxes based on the complaints we're getting as well.
Right.
And
Yeah.
again, we've had less complaint this year than we did last year. So I see that
Okay.
as the way to measure success.
Right.
We're not going to eliminate the rat population. It's not going to happen.
Right. No, I know. But we're moving in the right direction.
Correct.
That's good. Any other comments? Oh, yeah. Carrie, go ahead.
Thanks. Yeah, what are we doing with rats? We're making a less hospitable location for them. That's our, we can't eliminate them, but that wasn't my question or comment. I want to acknowledge that it's so many things this month, but it's also National Preparedness Month. And I think, and especially given today's date of September 11th, I think that it's important to acknowledge both of those things. I know that preparedness is something that I don't know, people think about it they try not to think about it because they don't want bad things to happen. But the department has a role, and I think that the work that you're doing, Liv, with the department in getting access to vaccinations and having these screening things, that's all part of preparedness. It's personal preparedness and it's health and well-being. So thank you. And it's just great to see all the work y'all are doing. Thanks.
Liv is doing an
Agreed.
excellent job.
Thank you.
She's a great addition to this department, and she completed her 1-year probation on the 3rd of September. So, we're happy you're here, Liv.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here.
In regards to that, I'm sorry, just to interject, Carrie, that raised an interesting question. Chief Burns was our head of command. Who's the new head of command with him retiring?
The new fire chief,
Okay.
Nelson.
Okay.
Okay, any final comments, questions, topics, anything else we need to cover? It sounds like we have some follow-up to do on both the fee schedule and the turnaround stuff, and we will do that.
Yeah, and I'll
There's
watch
nothing
back
else?
I'll watch back the beginning of this so I can see your discussions on that.
Okay.
And on the minutes for September, we have to note that Kevin joined us at
I was going to say that 7:40-ish.
Yeah.
Doesn't happen often, but every now and again.
Yeah.
At least I knew it was coming.
Way better than me showing up at 7:25. So
We still voted you vice chair though, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, that worked out.
I know. That was kind of, yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
That was a record-breaking meeting, though. I think that was the fastest meeting I've ever been on.
Ever.
Yes,
Like,
wow,
ever.
30 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, Sal. Roll call, Sal,
Yes.
Carrie,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Joan,
Yes.
and Rick, yes. So we'll see you
Okay.
next month. And
Thanks.
have a good.
All right.
Take care and
Bye.
get your vaccines.
Yes.
Yes.